Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Romania for this second race of the Romanian Grand Prix. We have had already this morning an incredibly close qualifying session as the 7 boats headed out for our new 2-segment qualifying section. It was unbelievably close. Now, I know I have a flair for the dramatic, but even by my standards, it was incredible. And this is why we start at this end of the pontoon chatting about this boat here. We had 222 offshore that had a bit of a mechanical mishap yesterday. I'm not mechanically minded. Something happened with an oil pump, oil line, something like that. Either way, during yesterday's race, the whole thing went smash bang wallop, and they were no more. They spent most of yesterday, if not all of yesterday, fixing the issues, and they were back with a bang this morning. They managed to get both of those Mercury ROS engines fixed. They headed out there for qualifying. They had a bit of a practice this morning, which you are fully allowed to do, and they managed to bring it home in second place. But for the shortest of time, they were actually in first, beating Faza to the pole. But alas, Faza pulled an incredible lap out at the last moment, meaning that Faza starts today's race, the second race of the Romanian Grand Prix, on pole. But it was incredibly tight. But we have 222 offshore ready to go and ready to rock. QA Oils, they had a really short qualifying session this morning. They've been struggling all weekend, but this is a story that we have seen before. We have seen QA Oils, we've seen Abdulatif and his crew pull it out of the bag before and get on the podium, a third place in Basilicata the last time we had a second race in the weekend. So they will be quietly confident. Spoke to Abdulatif earlier today, in fact, while we were doing a little bit of work along the pontoon, and he was in good spirits, which is fantastic. But let's have a little walk up and down. We're going to try and find some of the crews to have a chat with. This is the part where people try and avoid me and not speak to me, which is, is only fair. They're trying to get into the mindset. Luca's getting into the spirit. How are we feeling, Luca? We feeling confident?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
The weather, it feels quite good. Not proper storm as preview. It's fine.
Can only be a positive thing, right? Best of luck, mate. Best of luck. Luca Betti there, the man behind the wheel of boat number 22, Pasta Amato. As he said, they will be hoping for a strong race today. He mentioned the weather, and now it seems like the optimum time to do it, especially as a Brit. We talk about the weather all the time, as you well know. It has been threatening to rain and storm all day. When we had qualifying this morning, that kind of weather front just behind us there was really coming in, to the point, in fact, where all our phones went off with an alert, just warning us about the potential weather on the horizon, literally and figuratively. But it was not to be, and it looks like it's going to hold off. It is incredibly warm and incredibly sweaty, and hopefully that translates into fairly calm, I was going to say seas then, but it's not. We're on a freshwater lake, Lake Sucio, as we head into our second race. Darren Nicholson's going to try and run away. Come here, Darren. I get you every time.
I thought you didn't see me. I nearly got past you.
No, you're quite distinctive.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
I'll take that as a compliment.
You should, because it definitely was one.
Right, that's good. I don't get many.
Qualifying. Talk us through that, because that was pretty nail-biting stuff.
Yeah, we're getting closer. We've still got engine issues, so we could be a replica of yesterday. But yeah, look, the qualifying was good. It was how it should be. Everyone's get closer. Conditions were changing, and people change stuff so it gets right to the last little bit, and the crowd like that. So
we were cheering in the comms box. It was so close between you and Faza. What you mentioned the conditions. I promise I'll let you go in a second.
You're right.
Quite changeable, obviously. That it was relatively choppy at points this morning.
I think we'd call this, or in England you'd call it light and shite. It's just sticky. But there's that little bit of chop which will catch you out, easy to catch the chine and go around a bit. But a little bit of wind's a lot easier because it's a bit, So I think we're due for a storm too, so that'd be good. Put a bit more excitement in it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hopefully you brew up a storm in the cockpit. Not entirely sure what I mean by that, but best of luck to you and Giovanni, and we'll see you on the other side. All the best. Apologies for the language there. That's take the Australian out of Australia and all that. Let's take a second and just talk about XCAT. So XCAT's pole position qualifying session yesterday was just riddled with issues. Mechanical issue. There was water got into the fuel system, so they had to change all the fuel pipe. What are they called? I don't know. You can tell you I wasn't technically minded, but had to change most of what is under there. They had a really good race. They were fighting for third and fourth yesterday, kind of the whole time, and then they went out this morning for qualifying and really pulled something out of the bag. They've definitely got something more to give in the race. They were kind of trudging between fourth and fifth, finally finishing just outside of that top three. But having spoken to Seba and Eric and their team manager Josephine as well, they are right up for this race. They are really looking forward to it. In fact, we're going to try and hope to grab, I'm just looking past to see if we can grab any of XCAT now, and in fact they are coming down the pontoon, so we'll have a little chat with them, see if they can give us a little bit of insight about how they're feeling. That is the whistle for 10 minutes to go. Let me just check the colour of the flag. Yeah, it's a white flag, so we've got 10 minutes until everybody is going to have to be inside of their XCAT, and then the second race of this Romanian Grand Prix can take place. Seba's getting dressed.
Yeah.
How are we feeling?
I think we're good.
Yeah? Eddie.
Just try to do a better start and keep on from there.
So you fixed all the fuel problems. Qualifying this morning was really good.
Yeah, we had a lot of issues, so it was clogged injectors and we cleaned everything and it seems to work fine now.
Confident? It works fine? We go quick. Feeling confident?
I am. It's a lot of fun, so we'll see. We'll do it the best we can.
We were watching obviously during qualifying, and the way that you were managing to turn was absolutely pinpoint accurate. Can you tell us your secret?
No, I don't know. I just do it. I don't think, I just do it.
That's probably a good way to be.
Yeah.
Don't think, just do it. Eric, best of luck, mate. All the best. And Eric there, who has joined the crew for this weekend. He is everyone having a great time. He has joined the crew and he is the pilot of XCAT. So just incredible stuff. And celebrations on the pontoon. Just going to move slightly to the right of Josephine there, who is the team manager of XCAT. Again, she was absolutely ecstatic with what we had to give this morning. They really did do a fantastic job. So we've got Faza leading from the front, 222 offshore, heading out in second. The start is going to be incredibly close and incredibly tight. And with that, let's go and visit the highlights from yesterday's race.
We took it step by step. Each lap we went down, we dropped like 0.1, 0.2 to see other competitors where they are. And the last lap we put all flat out to get the best time. The team did an excellent job, my driver, my throttle man, all the guys who are with us, our team, Faza, His Highness, we give this win to him. The most important part is to be in the top with the points for the World Series.
We are in second place in the championship overall. We try to maintain this position. Today we fight really hard and coming to be lap after lap and go hard to go in the second position.
once again. Welcome back everybody to the UIM XCAT World Championship for the second race of the Romanian GP. Following quite a nail-biting pole position session earlier in the morning, we are back in the beautiful city of Constanța in Romania for race 2. So for today, we'll be having a total of 58.19 nautical miles worth of powerboat racing, one starting lap of 4.22 nautical miles, 13 race laps totaling 45.89 nautical miles, and 2 laps of 8 totaling 8.08 nautical miles. Now remind everyone, those long laps are mandatory. The first must be taken from the beginning of lap 3 and until the race reaches 70% completion, and the second by the end of the race. In case the pilots completely fail to do the long laps, this will lead to disqualification, and in case of partial failure of the long laps, this will mean a penalty lap or time added onto their existing time. And I'm joined by Mr. Stuart Porro in the commentator's box.
Hello.
How's it going? How's the vibe out there?
It's good. You know, it's really, really good. It's really positive. It's I think everyone's excited. We always kind of get this in the second race of a Grand Prix weekend. People kind of feel like there's a little bit of jubilation that they've made it through the first day. The second day, they've also got more confident with their surroundings and with the circuit. That essentially leads to, I think, just a little bit of that pressure being relieved. I mean, there's a couple of crews out there that are slightly happier with their situation than others. I mean, we spoke to XCAT there, and we spoke to Seba and to Eric, and they were really happy with their fourth place in pole position. Even talking to Darren, he thinks there's more to give potentially, despite the fact that they're not entirely happy with where they are mechanically. An incredible race ahead, John.
Absolutely, and just to remind everyone, the results for the second pole position session that dictates the running order for today. We had Faza in first place, 222 Offshore in second, following a very close fought battle. HPI Racing Team in third, XCAT in fourth, Team GB in fifth, Pasta Mato in sixth, and QA Oils in seventh. And unfortunately, we had 2 boats that did not make it onto the water.
Yeah, and it was. It's hard to really describe just how close that qualifying session was this morning. We talked to Darren about it earlier, and no doubt in our highlights program we had. Well, I can tell you with absolute free abandon that we can tell you that Faza were really happy with it as well. And we have reached the midway point of this 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. So here's a reminder of how the teams stand at the moment. We have Faza leading the way, really hotly followed by HPI Racing Team, the Italian brothers there of Rosario and Giuseppe. Team GB, really happy with their performance yesterday, only 10 points further behind in third. And then despite the troubles, we've got boat number 22, Pasta Amato, in fourth, followed by QA Oils, really closely behind in fifth. XCAT in sixth, 222 Offshore in seventh, a position that really does blind and cover just the performance that they have in that boat. And unfortunately, we've had a couple of teams that haven't been able to score to this stage at all. But as we are careering through this midway stage, everything is still open. The World Championship is not won in the first 3 weekends and the first 3 Grand Prix of a championship. It is given to the team that performed the best across the season, and there is still an awful lot of XCAT racing to be had.
Mm-hmm. And here we have a lovely animation made by our good old media team. So basically the teams will make their way towards the right of the race course, the far right, and will parade towards the far left, right in the middle. There they will begin their first starting lap, and then we're off racing basically. And that bottom right corner has been the most problematic one, it seems, so far in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the teams are either coming in close, coming in far, kind of trying to figure out the best way of negotiating the very last corner onto the home straight. You can also see the long lap there. The long lap strategy is really what sets this particular championship aside, because you think everything's kind of rosy in the garden, and then suddenly, oh, we've got to do 2 long laps, and you have to take them, don't you, John?
Indeed, and as mentioned, if you completely fail to take them, this could lead to your own disqualification or in partial failure, time added or penalty added. And yeah, it's basically a pit stop on the water, kind of. Think about it in those terms.
Yeah. It's actually, do you know what? That's a really good. We've been doing this for a little while, a couple of years, and first time you said it, and I wish you'd said it more often, because it's a really good analogy there. And yeah, you should think about this kind of half in sailing terms, and then half in kind of motor racing, traditional kind of on land motor racing, in terms of how it's approached across the 17 or so laps that we will complete here on Lake Suchong. So this is a freshwater lake, we're not on the sea as we ordinarily would do, and we've just heard the whistle. The green flag is up, which means the engines will be turned over, the hatches will be closed, the crews will be readied, and we will have the PaceCat leading out this team, this flotilla, this collection, this band of brothers of XCAT champions in the making, as they head out into the lake to begin the second race of the Romanian Grand Prix.
Correct. All the boats will proceed in pole order, following the PaceCat. The PaceCat will keep a very close eye on the boats, how they've lined up. Once the PaceCat decides that the order is satisfactory, the yellow flag will go up, signaling for the drivers to start basically picking up speed. Then the green flag is up, and off we go.
It's a very exciting starting procedure that we have here at the XCAT World Championships. If you're new to the XCAT, well, welcome along. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure to smash that like, follow and subscribe button. That would be lovely, just to make sure that you don't miss the rest of this 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship season, and the highlights programs and little bits of behind the scenes that we get up to as well. We don't just show you the racing, we show you the lifestyle of this championship, as well as the areas and the environments and the places that this championship goes. And we'll probably talk a little bit about Constanța, the city of Constanța here on the Black Sea coast of Romania, along with some of the other venues that we have visited as the race progresses, just to make sure that you book your flights and the Romanian Tourist Board invite us back, which would be lovely.
Of course, and I feel like as much, even if we talk about it constantly, we will never do it complete justice. But yeah, definitely worth putting on your bucket list for a summer vacation. We've yet to swim. Hopefully we'll do that soon. This is the last day, so hopefully we can treat ourselves to a bit of a swim afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Just reflecting what John says there, no amount of words in the world, and I own a lot of them, cannot reflect just how beautiful and how amazing Constanța and Mamaia, which is the district that we're staying in, the resort area just north of Constanța, has been absolutely fantastic. The people have been incredibly open and helpful and hospitable and generous, and it's definitely on my list of places to return after this tournament is up. But we do have a race, we do have a Grand Prix to think about before I can think about booking flights back to this beautiful part of the world. And you can see there the flotilla heading out in front of what is a large gathering crowd. Now, this is actually a bit like an amphitheatre, because we're here in a lake. You've got all the town kind of away to the right of your image there, and then it heads around Lake Suchol, where you've got the town of Giurgiu over there in the background as well. So tens of thousands of people on the shore side watching as we go, and of course all of you lovely lot at home whom we appreciate. And away we go. So sighting lap, PaceCat, yellow flag, green flag, go. I mean, it's no more complicated than that, John.
No, it is easy, although I must say the pace cat can be very strict. Obviously, everything has to be fair. You know, the drivers had to go through a very grueling pole position session, so you wouldn't want any unfair advantages to be taken whilst you're kind of lining up.
Absolutely, and that is one of the key things about this championship. It is an extraordinarily level playing field, given that everything is mandated from from on high. Essentially, everybody is running the same two Mercury ROS racing engines, 400 brake horsepower apiece. The fuel is tightly controlled. The ballast is tightly controlled. The weight of your boat, it's got to be a minimum amount, and the length, minimum length of your boat is also incredibly tightly controlled. And that's why we see incredibly tight racing out of this particular championship, and why we saw qualifying like we did this morning.
And I guess if you want to use another kind of F1 metaphor, it's almost like a cost cap, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can play within the rules if you want your boat to be shorter or longer, or have a different type of hull, like with HPIs. But yeah.
That's incredibly good observation there. But you're absolutely right. Shorter boats do better in flat water traditionally and can turn better in calmer seas. The longer, bigger, heavier boats tend to do better and fare better in slightly rougher waters or choppier waters that we find on our journeys as well. And you'll find that, much like any racing circuit in any championship anywhere in the world, whether it be on tarmac, gravel, or indeed on the water, certain tracks and certain areas will suit teams, machines and men in a different way. So this is no different. This particular body of water definitely suits FASA more than say a Team GB, which is the biggest and heaviest boat in the championship at the minute.
And speaking of Team GB,
and there they
Team
are.
GB.
Team GB. I mean, it's almost like I'm being listened to. But let me see Shelley on the left-hand side there. The team manager, incredibly experienced in the world of powerboats. What she doesn't know ain't worth knowing, ladies and gentlemen. She really is a font of knowledge. I regularly tap her up just to make sure that I've got the correct information, because you can never learn too much from those that have done it before. So
wise words from Mr. Stuart Porro.
Right, yeah. Well, you know, every now and again, you know, people have tuned in for an XCAT Grand Prix and they're getting Nostradamus. Actually, no, because he tells the future. I haven't given any predictions yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to.
No.
Commentator's curse.
Although you have been quite on the spot with your predictions throughout the GP. So what are your predictions for this one?
Oh yeah, I'm sort of the kind of XCAT soothsayer. I think it's going to be incredibly close off the line. I think FASA are going to get a good start, but I think XCAT, I know we've been talking about them a lot today, but I just see a little twinkle in the eye of
the
that
eye
crew.
of Seba or of Eric?
Both. I mean,
Both?
we chatted to Eric on the pontoon. I don't think I just go. Excuse the accent, it's not exactly what he sounds like, but that's what he said. I don't think I'll just go. Which must be terrible for Seba. Absolutely terrifying. But no, they look like they're up for it. You know, they really, really do. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be tough off the line. If FASA can get a jump off the start, then I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to catch them. But I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be that tight. And with 222, they might be a little bit gentler. They might be just wanting to finish the race in a good position rather than push too hard and have mechanical issues like before.
But they are the wild cards of the pack, I would say. They keep pulling out these performances. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone completely their way. But just when you think that FASA is unbeatable, they're right up there in their nose, trying to get at him.
Yeah, they are the wild card, as we had our first live on-air swearing incident with Darren Nicholson earlier. Apologies again for the language.
But it's Darren, so we excuse him.
Yeah, well, as we said, you know,
we all love Darren.
You have to forgive the Australian condition. but no, you know, they're a great side, they're a great crew, their ground crew, they're on shore are absolutely fantastic as well, really open and welcoming with information and access, which everybody is. But yeah, I think they do always have an interesting strategy, and I think that comes from their experience in other championships as well, and their experience with each other. They've been racing each other, Giovanni and Darren, for an awful long time in that cockpit. and so they know each other's kind of movements, you know, and they complement each other quite well. So we're just heading around the final corner now. We will expect the pace cat to be showing a flag of some variety at some point. And you can see there the pace cat's kind of gone out wide.
Yep. So the parade is almost over. If the pace cat decides that the order is correct, we should be seeing it any time now.
There we go. We've seen them separate into 2 packs. The 4 that didn't quite manage to make it through into Q2 of qualifying this morning, and the 3 of FASA 222 and HPI, who will go into that second gate with a slight advantage. That is why qualifying is so important. But we've seen before that qualifying is not the be-all and end-all. In fact, we see it regularly.
I can overhear some shouting on the radio, so I think see them picking up the pace.
Here we go.
And we're off racing.
This is it. We have the green flag. They're going. Green flag, everybody. And the second race of the Romanian Grand Prix is underway. And as we head down the home straight, they are going to go through the Timey boys. And we have an early lead from Darren Nicholson and Giovanni Carpitella of 222 Offshore. Closely followed by HPI. Closely followed by XCAT, who are taking FASA. Along with Pasta Amato, QA Oil seem to be catching up with Team GB. It's a bit of a mess out there, but 222 Offshore have taken the lead. HPI into second. FASA are in third. XCAT remain in fourth. QA and Team GB fighting it out around that first corner. Ooh. And they are running it ragged into the first. And we have someone bogged down there. Is that GB?
Yeah, the waters are pretty rough out there. Volvo's boats very close to each other.
And they had to take evasive action. I think that's what happened there to avoid running into each other. But we've got boat 22 of Pasta Amato, Freda Amato and Luca Betti up against Team GB.
It's a proper drag race.
It is a drag race.
Oh, triple to Offshore with the early lead. Touch wood. I don't want this to go wrong.
And Team GB are taking XCAT.
Oof.
Oh, I think we've got a collision. I think we've had a collision there. I think Team GB, Q8 and XCAT had a little kiss on the corner there. And we'll see what happened there in more clarity, probably after the race, because it's so high octane, and we'll bring you what we understand after the race. But there you see the distinctive Rocco Barocco on the side of the number 10 boat, 222 Offshore of Darren Nicholson and Giovanni Carpitella, just taking that turn a little wide, if I'm honest with you. And HPI racing behind them, and FASA right behind them again.
Everyone's taking it equally as wide, probably to avoid all the swirls created by all the boats.
Yeah, QA Oils.
So QA Oils managed to get ahead of Team GB.
Fair play. That is something.
Ooh.
And
Luca Betti and Alfredo Amato putting some moves on there, that turn, eh?
And that's a crew that can pull a move.
You can say that again.
That's a crew that can pull a move. They are off. Luca Betti, no stranger to a steering wheel. He's pretty crafty.
I think you're right, though. It is the last race for the Romanian GP, so I think everyone's going to let it all out on the waters today.
I think so. I think there's a relief. And 222 Offshore have absolutely taken off down the road.
If they can manage to keep this pace, maybe build a little bit of a lead for their 2 long laps further down the line.
Yeah, and they'll be hoping that they draw a little bit of HPI.
And that's 2 minutes and 48 seconds for triple 2 Offshore. That's the fastest lap we've seen in the GP so far.
Yeah, and FASA are in third. Team GB in fourth, being closely followed by XCAT, Seba and Eric there. QA Oils, and
they've overtaken
Pasta Amato. What? That wasn't even English. What a race! But we can see 222 Offshore building up quite the lead there. They will be sat there now, kind of trying to build up a bit of a lead. They'll be wanting HPI to hold up FASA, because that FASA need to get round HPI, so that's an obstacle in FASA's way. You've got 222 Offshore that will be wanting that gap to increase, and the long lap strategy will start to come into play before you know it, folks. And 222 Offshore will also be looking at their instrument cluster, hoping and praying that they don't suffer the same mechanical issues that they did yesterday as they build up quite the lead. But it doesn't look like they're throttling down any?
No, fingers crossed. So far, we have 222 Offshore in first place, HPI Racing Team in second, looking incredibly fast, hot on 222's heels. Faza in third, I think probably waiting for their time to strike. Team GB in fourth, XCAT in fifth, QA Oils in sixth position, and Pasta Amato in last position.
Now, I don't know what that says about the conditions, because this is not a race for these boats. It's not, obviously they can perform, but not necessarily where they want to be. They need a bit more space, room, and direction to really take advantage of it. And you can see just throttling down really late there as the hull kind of grips into the water. We all think, obviously water is wet, water is soft, but that's a good turn. But he seems to have bogged down a bit, but he's off again. But obviously, we've all kind of jumped into the water and done a bit of a belly flop, and we've seen that it's hard. And these have exactly the same issue. Displacement. What a turn from Faza there.
Do you think they'll have time to make a move on HPI? Definitely gaining on them.
So we have 222 Offshore miles ahead at the moment. HPI have stuck in second, and Faza are in third. Now Faza are experienced. This will not be phasing them in the slightest. They'll be relatively happy with how it's going. It's still a podium place at the moment.
It's a phasing Faza, I like that.
I didn't realise I'd done that. Team GB in fourth, quite a gap. And XCAT, the gap from Team GB to XCAT in fifth has grown, but the gap from XCAT to Q8 Oils has shrunk, and the gap from Q8 Oils to number 22 Pasta Amato has shrunk as well. So we've got two packs kind of running around and doing what they need to do. But look at number 10. Look at 222. It's like a torpedo through the water there. Just the front of the bow just lifting off the gas there. Its front tucks in, creates that friction, allows everything to move, and then pull round to the right.
We had the team manager for 222 Offshore looking pretty pleased with himself.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that Pasta Amato, although in last position, I would definitely not write them off. They are looking very fast today.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they manage to catch up with QA Oils.
I completely and totally agree. Managed to grab literally 5 words with Luca Betti while on the pontoon. He was in his space, in his zone, just kind of getting ready for the race ahead. And I felt a little bit bad asking him, but hey, journalism. I went ahead and did it anyway. And he feels confident. He's happy with the weather, he's happy with the conditions, and he's happy with the boat. So we will see how he does. HPI there in a solid second place. So they've jumped a place compared to where they were after qualifying, and currently occupying the spot that they finished in yesterday.
This probably suits them if 222 Offshore manages to, if they can hold off Faza from taking, obviously overtaking them, but not moving higher up. They are second in the overall ranking, so it suits them if 222 Offshore manage to take the first spot.
Yeah. This is doing everybody favours. It gives 222 Offshore a huge number of points. It gives HPI an advantage, but they've just got caught around that final bend. They are taking it really, really close. They're just dragging. You can see that HPI have Faza in the straights, but Faza are just chewing away at their lead ever so slightly.
With those corners,
Yeah, that's what's happening there. But HPI have got the making of them on the straights, and we'll see what happens.
Pasta Amato deciding to take an early long lap. Smart. They did follow the same strategy in yesterday's race as well, kind of getting both long laps out of the way. Who's your prediction for the next long lap?
Oh, let's have a look. I'm actually quite good at this game. Yes, Pasta Amato have taken their long lap, one of 2. I can imagine we will start to see either Q8 Oils or possibly even Team GB. They were talking about the long lap strategy at dinner the other day, and the general conversation was that the long lap strategy from GB was not quite the right one. That's something that they're usually super strong at, and I I think the next one will be Q8 followed by Team GB. That's going to be my prediction. But if I could predict things, I'd be more correct and more often than I am, and I'm not. So away we go. And then we see team manager for Faza and usually Ragesh. It's usually Ragesh that is with us. He couldn't make it this weekend. If you're watching at home, Ragesh, hello mate. Hope you're well. I'll see you following me on Instagram. Love it. Thanks for all the comments. And if you want to follow me on social media, feel free. Just type Social Stew into Instagram, and I will pop up with a heavily doctored photo of myself and making me look much prettier than I am. But we have Faza just showing everybody how to turn around boys.
Quite right. So far, 222 Offshore remains in first position. HPI Racing Team, Team GB there with a bit of drifting going on there.
Yeah, full on handbraking around the corner there. Lovely job.
HPI Racing Team in second, Faza in third, Team GB in fourth, XCAT in fifth, QA Oils in sixth, and Pasta Amato in last position with one long lap completed.
So to give you an indication of the early gaps, we think the long lap here adds around about 20 to 25 seconds of time to your overall lap. So what does that mean? If you want to make sure that you get out in front of the boat behind you, you need to have at least a 20 to 25, possibly even 30-second gap. And Faza hot on the heels of HPI there.
It's shrinking slowly but surely.
It is shrinking slowly but surely. And we see Team GB seem to have found their rhythm actually now after that drifting incident further up the course. And let's have a look at them as they go past our commentary booth here. Nice and flat. Nice and flat. XCAT. Eric behind the wheel. Oh, some bounce. Seba has decided to keep that throttle harshly down and giving it some. And very, very impressive stuff.
I mean, each team is clocking some very impressive numbers, massively faster than the previous race, previous polls as well.
Yeah, the conditions really feel like they are leaning into the XCATs and how they like it to be done. It's very, very close out there. It's very, very muggy. It looks like the rains will be avoided. And so in terms of conditions, this is pretty much as perfect can be. And hopefully for the crews out there, they continue to perform well. And Sebastian and Eric there, absolutely flying. That boat looked very much like it wasn't going to be able to compete at one point this weekend, but absolutely thrilled to see the contingent out there. Shed cab, if you've been watching the weekend's action, you'll have heard this story before, but I was lucky enough to share our transfer from Bucharest Airport down to here with the Swedish team, which gave us a good opportunity to have a chat, and had a good chat with Josephine. There she is there. Had a good chat with Josephine about the weekend ahead.
Interesting. So 222 Offshore has decided to take their first long lap. Seems pretty smart. They have about a 19-second difference between them and HPI in second spot. So most likely will not affect them. They will still have the first spot.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I think they've built up just enough of a lead. They're undercutting everybody behind them, and this will be exactly what they need. Q8 Oils there. They have the capacity in the boat, both in terms of the actual performance mechanically and the drivers and throttlemen in there. They can do it. They have the ability to win, and we've seen them come through and score points and podiums before. Of Morocco adorned 222 Offshore there. Not a surprise. HPI will need to take their long lap at some point, or their long laps, I should say. And that's a good result for 222 Offshore to be just 0.69 of a second behind HPI after a long lap.
It's a bit of a tricky situation to be in. I wouldn't want to be in HPI's shoes. Building a gap on 222 Offshore is going to be pretty tricky to take a long lap quite safely.
Yes, it's a head scratcher for sure for HPI, because they're kind of sandwiched between a rock and a hard place. You've got Faza behind you and 222 in front of you most of the time. It's a bit of a tough one to call.
Ooh.
And that looks like the end of the race for 222. Oh,
gutting.
no. Oh, no. That is our race leader, 222 Offshore, have come to a crashing halt as they have suffered what I can only imagine is another mechanical failure after 6 laps of this race at the Romanian Grand Prix. They are turning around, they are making their way back to the pontoon. This is absolutely heartbreaking for that Australian-Italian team. They're getting a huge round of applause from the guys and girls and families on the banks of the lake here. Absolutely gutting. They were in prime position to take their first victory, potentially, of this Grand Prix. And obviously what it does is it opens the race up for the young chappies of Giuseppe and Rosario of HPI. But oh my word, John, what an absolutely crushing blow for the team there of 222 Offshore.
It just hasn't been their year so far. We know they have the capability. Darren and Giovanni, immensely experienced. Quick digression, Faza has entered their first long lap. But yeah, you know, Darren, very experienced sailor and powerboater. So yeah, gutting.
So Faza, as you say, have decided to go in for their long lap and have decided that they're going to try and undercut HPI.
Correct, and XCAT has also decided to take their first long lap. And that's a lovely sight, though. A bit of a standing ovation for Giovanni and Darren. Darren's having a little bit of a... nothing dampens that guy's spirit. Eh?
No, he's a fairly happy chappy, I'll give him that. Unlucky, very unlucky. And Faza absolutely flying past there. And they will be keen to take advantage of this situation. Because at the moment, we have HPI, followed by Team GB, followed by Faza, Q8 Oils, 222 are obviously out of the race, and XCAT in for the long lap. So this will have impacted what they're up to at the moment.
I'm very curious about Team GB's and HPI's strategy. Team GB in particular, I would probably assume that they should take their long lap sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we shall see what Team GB decide to do. They will be looking at a rerun of yesterday's race. We have almost a carbon copy, minus the amount of speed and distance that 222 managed to build before their mechanical failure. They've obviously got something inherently wrong with the system there, which they'll be hoping to fix before our next rounds in the United Arab Emirates, a destination we're very, very happy to be going back to later on in the year. We have to wait till the winter time, I'm afraid, where it's freezing cold in Europe, but it'll be nice and just comfortably warm in the Emirates, and we always have a great reception when we go there, and wonderful hosts, and they love their powerboating, and so it is the perfect place for people like me and you. So there we have Team GB.
Scott Williams and Martin Campbell currently lying in second position, right behind HPI Racing Team, a bit of a gap. Neither team has taken any of their long laps. So far only Pasta Amato, XCAT and Faza have taken one. Lap 7. Yeah.
So we've got roughly about 10 laps to go of this second race of the Romanian Grand Prix. And on that note, Shelley has made the call. She has sent the message through to race control. They are taking their long lap. Team GB taking the first of 2 long laps.
A smart move, I think, on behalf of Team GB, or at least taking it a bit later on, may harm them a lot more than this will.
Yes, this is a good time for them to do it. It's an interesting time for them to do it. Faza are on fire. They have seemed to, I mean, obviously it's a shame for Darren and Giovanni that they're out of the race, but what has dampened them has buoyed Faza. They seem absolutely like they have the bit between their teeth, and so they should. They're in prime position to reinforce their position as championship leaders here with HPI in front of them by 36 seconds as it currently stands. HPI need to take that long lap, and they need to take it now, in my opinion. They're trying to press home an advantage that they will not be able to really get any more out of, in my humble opinion, as a spectator all the way over here in the dry and the warm.
I think I'll mirror that, Stu. I imagine Faza will manage to take the first spot. HPI will have to take a long lap very soon. Team GB already taken the first, so I imagine it will be Faza, Team GB, HPI.
Yeah, I completely agree. But they're gonna have to do it. They're going to come around this lap, and the team makeup. You've got two brothers in there, Rosario and Giuseppe, and then it's Papa, it's Antonio, that is good old Big Tony. He's not called Big Tony. I'll just call him Big Tony, and he doesn't speak a lot of English, so I get away with it. But look at that, HPI are coming in for their long lap. I'll just slap my own knee there, viewers at home, in celebration, because sometimes I really enjoy that I know what I'm doing.
No, it makes complete sense on behalf of HPI Racing Team. They do have a bit of a gap, 36 seconds, so it may not harm them. I doubt they'll be able to regain first spot. I feel like Faza will make their move there.
Yeah, I think where the long lap comes out, along just ahead of that kind of final corner, that is Faza's absolute favourite spot on the track. That Foxtrot 1, Foxtrot 2 corner into the final straight. They really have got that nailed in terms of how to get the best out of their XCAT around that corner, and so I don't see them losing anything there. So we just see HPI going through the timing gate there, and it will be on this lap that they take their long lap, because they dial in radio to team control to the guys above our head here in the commentary booth, and you can see they've got a bit of a lead over Faza, but they're going to have to build a bigger one.
And QA Oils has decided to take their first long lap. Wise. So far we have HPI in first position. All teams have taken one long lap. Faza in second, QA Oils in third, Team GB in fourth, XCAT in fifth, Pasta Amato in sixth, and 222 Offshore out of this race.
Yeah, and we still have an awful long way to go, everybody. We've completed 9 laps of this race, and we're going to see a lot more racing besides. And it's getting to that point where you think you know how it's going to go, and then it starts to change on you.
Yeah, and it seems like Faza has decided to take their second long lap, getting all of those out the way.
That is a smart move, getting the second long lap out of the way, and meaning that they can put the undercut on HPI. They're only 15 seconds behind HPI Racing.
Apologies, mistake there. XCAT has decided to take their second long lap.
XCAT have decided to take their long lap. You lied to us, John.
I know. A very smart move on behalf of Josephine, currently lying in 5th place. But this could mean, if I can hazard a wild guess, I have a feeling XCAT's going to make it onto the podium.
What did I say at the beginning of the programme?
You did indeed.
What did I say at the top of the programme? I said they had a twinkle in their eye, and Eric had a twinkle in both of his eyes. He was ready to go. He was ready to rock. Team GB with a beautiful bit of cornering there. Fair play, chaps. That was really quite a joy to witness. They've been talking about their ability to corner all weekend, and that it's been costing them time and speed and places, but now they have managed to get themselves into a super strong position, and hopefully they want to finish on the podium exactly the same as they did yesterday.
So HPI Racing Team still in first position, Faza in second. HPI Racing Team, although they took a long lap, it seemed like Faza didn't manage to take the first spot. Team GB in third, QA Oils in fourth, XCAT in fifth position, Pasta Amato in sixth, and 222 Offshore out of the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, the boat's out of the water now, John. 222's race definitely run, and we have our leaders as it stands, HPI, and they're going to do everything to keep that position. They do, of course, have to take their second long lap, and that is probably going to mean they won't win this. I'm going to say it. They're not going to win this Grand Prix based on that unless something happens wildly. They do not have enough of a gap on Faza as it stands, but everything can change at the drop of an XCAT hat.
I'm curious why Team GB hasn't decided to take their second long lap. They have a pretty big gap between them and QA Oils. I feel like that would cement their podium spot, getting those out the way and just focusing on going as fast as possible.
I completely agree. We often ask the question of these XCATs, is it fast? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. They are very, very fast boats. And Team GB have managed to build a huge gap on QA Oils. And yeah, you're absolutely right on that long lap strategy. No harm, no foul. And it might even be to do with their proximity to the boys in front of Faza. But, you know, it is not our question. It's not our duty to question why. It is our duty to do and die as commentators. We are but watching to see what happens. And we're just hearing a team manager's right next to us fapping away. Not entirely sure what at, but I'm sure it will come through. There we see Josephine seeing if she's made the right decision.
I feel sure QA Oils hasn't taken their second long lap. SweetCat has completed both of them, so I feel like it's just a matter of time for them to make it up to number 4, and then it'll be a fight between SweetCat and Team GB.
Yeah, a bit of dogfight. Faza, there you go. That is confirmation that Faza have taken the lead. They have gotten ahead of HPI, and Faza top of the tree once again, which is where they started this Grand Prix. They qualified first, of course, this morning, and it is quite some gap between them and HPI as it stands at the moment. A huge gap, in fact, between them and HPI. 24 seconds and 23 hundredths of a second. Massive amounts of space there. And I'd say Faza, unless they do something ridiculously wrong now, are home and host.
Yeah, I feel like they'll continue to build their lead for just a little bit longer, decide to take their second long lap, and then bring it home. Team GB, and that's the one I'm looking at. HPI second, third, and fourth, and fifth actually. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. So we've just seen SweetCat flying up behind QA Oils, as you say. QA Oils still have a long lap still to take. SweetCat, on the other hand, are fully long lapped out, so they are just on a hot set of wheels all the way.
SweetCat's going
finish.
on the inside.
Look at that.
Probably won't be able to.
Like an XCAT missile there. Yeah. True to form, but that does mean they've overcooked the turn there. Although we were talking to Eric about cornering earlier on when I was on the pontoon, trying not to expire, and he just said hit and hope. Well, he didn't say that, but you know, he was indicating that it's just about doing what you need to do. Now, it's important they don't overcook this because they obviously need to grab as much time as possible, and they're not really in a fight with Q8. Q8 still have a long lap to take, so in reality, they're not fighting Q8, they are fighting, as you rightfully say, Team GB, who are gaining on HPI.
Yeah, very so only a 5-second difference. I imagine it's a little bit smaller than that, looking at the screen.
And both of these teams have taken one long lap apiece, so there is still more to come. And there you can see just in the rooster tail, Team GB of HPI. And Team GB have decided to brake left ever so slightly just to kind of get out of their wake and get a bit of a cleaner line as we head along the top of this circuit. And they're about to take the last corner. So this will be telling. This will see whether Team GB has managed to do what they need to do. It kind of looks like Team GB have gone on their long lap without us being informed, which I'll be honest is not a surprise.
Yep.
There's an awful lot going on. So it looks like HPI.
Correct. You
God,
are
I
correct.
am good. And, away goes HPI with one long lap still to take. Team GB have taken their long lap, so they are out of the frame as it stands at the moment. And HPI's engine sounding a little bit worse for wear there, if I'm honest with you, as he flies past my open window here.
A bit of a fight going there between QA Oils, Pasta Amato, and Team GB.
And Team GB have just absolutely sailed past Q8 Oils
So
there.
they took the long lap and managed to still stay in front of Q8.
That is some serious speed on the straights that Team GB are managing to muster out with those two Mercury RS engines. And it's SweetCat are still stuck behind Q8 Oils.
It's only a matter of time, I think, Stu. QA Oils, I mean, they're in a bit of a tricky situation now. When to take that long lap.
And Q8 Oils and SweetCat were right alongside each other there as they head into the boys.
Is that a Pasta Amato making their way towards the pontoon?
It is. That is Pasta Amato's race run. They are on the way back. Boat number 22 of Pasta Amato, Fredo Amato and Luca Betti. I hope I didn't jinx them by talking to them this morning. But they are heading back to the pontoon. They have had a bit of a stinker of a weekend. That is a competitive boat. We know what the team can do, but sometimes the dice just don't fall for them, and they are getting a huge round of applause from what is now actually a very large crowd over there on the shores of Lake Sucho. And we now have confirmation that Faza are taking their second long lap, John.
Sure, there is about a 34-second difference between them and HPI Racing Team in a second. A safe move, probably about the right time to take it. Why not? HPI Racing Team also has a healthy gap between them and Team GB. QA Oils is hot on Team GB's heels though, and SweetCat as well on Q8's. So the fight for third, fourth, and fifth is still on.
And QI, that's a television program on the BBC. Q8 Oils are going to have to take some long laps, but we do have long lap news, don't we, John?
Yep, HPI Racing Team has entered their second long lap. Now this is where Team GB needs to put the throttle to the max, try steal that second spot from them.
Yeah. Josephine doing her long division there. Yeah, long lap, carry the horsepower. I'm sure she'll come up with the right answer. And SweetCat have gone really wide there.
Really wide.
Team GB absolutely hammering it. And they are... Yeah, that looks like they're getting
Probably
exactly out of that what they want.
Probably took second spot, is it?
It's quite possible.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's Team GB up into the silver medal position. Not that we give out medals. And away they go.
In QA Oils lying in third, it probably won't last for long given the fact that they haven't taken their second long lap, and SweetCat right behind them. So it's going to be a dogfight between them, isn't it?
Yeah, it really, really is, John. This is exactly what we want to see in the championship. Obviously not two broken boats, that's a real shame. But we've got a real fight on our hands here. SweetCat are absolutely on QA Oils' rooster tail there, and they don't necessarily have to worry too much about it. They have already taken both their long laps, and QA Oils have to take one more. And really, what SweetCat will want to do is stay ahead of HPI.
Correct. It's all about just keeping the pace, keeping calm, and just waiting for the right time to just slide into that third spot.
Although I haven't seen HPI for a while.
Indeed. But as you say, it is just important. Obviously, they have a lot of the brothers Giuseppe and Rosario were very competitive throughout this GP. So let's not sleep on those guys. So far, Faza, number one, Team GB in second, QA Oils in third, SweetCat in fourth, HPI Racing Team in fifth, and Pasta Amato and 222 Offshore unfortunately abandoning the race, most likely to some sort of mechanical issue.
Yeah, it's a shame to see, but we are starting to understand how this might take shape. Faza going past in front of me there, you can probably just hear me out. And
Team GB should be. Oh, there's a bit of a gap between them and Faza in first position.
There really
Almost
is.
seems set in stone.
there is a huge gap now building up. Team GB may even have eased the throttle. They might have decided there is no way we're going to be able to catch Faza at this rate. Scott and Martin might have just gone, do you know what, we're just going to make sure that we get this back. And it looks like XCAT are in third. No, they're not. That's a complete and total lie. Q8 Oils are still in third, still needing to take a long lap, but XCAT are right behind them in prime position to take advantage of that.
But they are looking like they have a nice, sweet, steady space between them and Q8 Oils. Not necessarily rushing to make a move. And the gap between XCAT and HPI Racing Team has grown.
Absolutely massive, John.
That is a bit of a strange one. I'd expect there would be a bit of a closer fight between them and XCAT.
Yeah. Well, I did mention earlier that the engines, the two Mercury ROS 400 horsepower engines on the back of our lovely XCATs here, did mention that the engines on the back of HPI sounded a little off, and they're not going very quickly. Now, it's still important that if you can, you finish a race, because you will still be awarded points. And obviously the idea is that you collect as many as you can along the way, and hopefully they manage to finish. But it very much sounds like they are struggling, and if it sounds right to me, it sounds like they're down to one engine. Now, I could be completely and totally wrong. We've also had instances of propellers shearing their blades, and that could also be something that's happened there, where basically your propeller just flies off. XCAT with a turn. Oh my
turn.
word, John!
I feel like that was a boy touch, though. But yeah, try to make the move on QA. A bit risky. I don't know if it was 100% worth it at this point in time, given the fact that Q8 still needs to take their second long lap. What just happened there?
Faza seemed to have popped up out of nowhere.
Almost seemed like a bit of a issue.
Well, I can see Faza out of our window, and it looks like...
Almost seems like Q8 has the lead and XCAT's in second.
There's something going on with Faza. There's something desperate going on with Faza. I think Faza might be done here.
Yeah, they're not looking very strong.
I think
and not
Faza
much
might be
propulsion
done.
coming from the engines.
And they've taken a bit of an odd way around. I think Team GB are going to go through for the lead here. Team GB are the leaders of this second race at the Romanian Grand Prix on Lake Suceava, on the banks of Mamaia, north of Constanța. Team GB take the lead ahead of Q8 Oils, followed by XCAT, and I think Faza are struggling. Now, just like HPI, it is important for Faza to finish the race. They will still be awarded points for making it to the end of this Grand Prix. And there you see Team GB. Absolutely. Yeah, good idea to cut there before we get any lip readers on that one.
Seemed like something bad was going to
come out. Something bad was about to come out of Shelley's mouth. You could kind of see it. Probably something along the lines of, now don't be naughty boys now, Scott and Martin. Just keep you cool. But Team GB, the most unlikely of leaders in this second race.
Oh, Faza just coming past the controlling box. That does not sound good.
I think they might even call their race here. You know, that sounds absolutely desperate.
Almost seems like just one engine's working, isn't it?
Yeah, that is definitely an engine failure. But they're staying out there. They're staying in the race. They are out there, and they are. No. Faza's engine's definitely out. There's only the left-hand Mercury is currently working. They are going to run around this course at a snail's pace, and where we have only a couple of laps left to go.
But yeah, as mentioned, you know, it's important for HPI and Faza to make it to the end of this of the race. They are currently Faza 140 points, championship overall in first position, and HPI in second with 134 points. So it's important for them to get as many points on the board as possible and then fight it out in Dubai.
Agreed. Now, as we head towards the final laps of this race, you will see a flag waved from the XCAT, which indicates that the teams are about to go into their penultimate lap. There we have it. There we have Aline, good friend of the show, usually in the box with us. He is heavily involved with XCAT, and there he is waving the white flag to indicate that this is the penultimate lap. Well waved, Aline, well waved. Team GB heading through for their final lap, leading this race, followed by UIM Oils, and they are currently in second place.
Yes, indeed, although they haven't completed their second long lap, so I imagine that means either a penalty or time added. I wonder if maybe they're expecting that the penalty will be worth it, or whether, you know, so I guess the officials will have some work on their hands after this race is done.
And Faza are just making their way back to the pontoon. They've decided they can't continue anymore. They're getting a clap from the crowd. HPI taking the white flag now. They look like they are in a much better position to take this race to the finish and be awarded points, but this is going to be a pointless race for Faza, who came in top of the championship. This is not what they needed heading into the final rounds in the United Arab Emirates. This is the last thing they would have liked, but it's Team GB who are currently leading this second race of the Romanian Grand Prix, an unlikely leader after their performances this morning, and now they pull out the big guns. Now they show us how to turn the boys, and they just need to keep their cool. Scott and Martin representing the entire UK this weekend, and more closer to home, two lovely chaps from Liverpool. They'll be doing the Mersey proud right now, and they are heading to the final corner, and they just need to keep their wits about them. Team GB, Shelley there, stay calm, stay flat, stay flat. You can see what she's saying, just stay calm, you're in the lead. Don't hit anything, don't do anything silly, just, there you go, look how calmly and
nice and easy.
Off she goes.
All is left for them to bring it back home. QA Oils are remaining in second position. They have decided to take their long lap right at the end, which I know will probably mean, there we go, checkered flag.
And Team GB are the winner of the second race here of the Romanian Grand Prix. Shelley there, happy as Larry there. Larry, of course, being our drone. And absolutely ecstatic. Team GB, winners of this second race.
XCAT in second position. Congrats to Seba and Eric taking silver.
I told you. And here we go. QA Oils, Abdul Latif. They've had a really rough weekend.
Oh, good job to the Kuwaiti duo over there.
QA Oils
taking the third spot. Some expert handling, similarly to the race in Pistici. Good for them.
Well done, everybody. There are huge talking points. HPI Racing coming in there in fourth position, scoring very good points, in fact. So that will be, we'll have to do the long division, but that will not do their championship hopes any harm whatsoever. My quick maths though, I think it's going to be Team GB that leave Romania in the lead of this World Championship. Something I genuinely didn't think I was going to say when we saw the conditions in front of us. The biggest boat, the heaviest boat, this couldn't be the worst venue for them. But there we see Scott. What's he looking for? Is it his phone? Well, no. Oh no!
It's his phone. Let's just pretend it's his phone.
It's his phone. I think he's got his phone out there. Fair play.
I hope he can catch the checkered flag with one hand because.
Oh, what a result for Scott and Martin, Team GB. They kept their cool. They did everything. They did the basics right. They've been working on their cornering, which was so important over the last few days. And it's going to be Aline. No, it's going to be Pasquale, one of the administrators of XCAT, throwing the checkered flag to the winners, Team GB, followed by XCAT, a great turnaround in their fortunes this weekend, and Q8 Oils, third place, their second podium of this 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. A fine result for them, and HPI in fourth, with Faza, Pastamato and 222 Offshore unfortunately having to retire from the race with what looks like mechanical issues, a couple of engines going pop. Really, really well done. And I must say, just a massive well done to the crowds as well. They've been fantastic throughout this entire process. It looks like it's going to be Martin grabbing the checkered flag. There you go, 3, 2, 1.
You got it.
Expertly done. Expertly done. Well done, sir. Well done. What a fantastic result for Team GB. Wholly unexpected, I will say. And I'm not being unfair in saying that. I think they were the first ones to admit to us when we got here, this is not our race. But they have done incredibly well. Finishing on the podium in the first race in third position. And then going 2 better in this second race by taking the checkered flag and doing super well. There we go.
And XCAT also a great result for the Swedish
He's
team.
doing the John Lennon. Wowzers. What a sight to behold. Well done, chaps. Well done. And a massive well done to XCAT as well. They've worked incredibly hard as a team to bring that together this weekend. A huge well done. And a huge well done to Q8 Oils, to Abdul Latif and Badir. Absolutely incredible performance. 2 of the best. I say this about all the teams, that they're just so great. And it's a real pleasure and a real joy to be able to share our time with each and every member of the crew, the teams, and it is absolutely fantastic. Enjoying the moment there, I see, which is fair play. John, what did you think of the Romania Grand Prix before we go off air, mate?
Incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, we had early 222 Offshore leading most of the races, but then struggling, super unlucky with mechanical issues. I did not expect Faza to not be finishing the race. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And full of a surprise, HPI Racing Team in fourth. I expected them to be on the podium.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Team GB and XCAT, first and second. Q8 Oils, almost like all the underdogs made it onto the podium today.
Yeah. What an incredible turn of events. But there we have it, just confirmation. Obviously all these results are provisional, subject to scrutineering, but Team GB with the win, XCAT in a very strong second, Q8 Oils, who managed to remember they needed one more long lap towards the end, followed by HPI Racing, Faza, who did not finish, Pasta Amato, who did not finish, and 222 Offshore, who were the early leaders of this race, who did not finish. But thank you ever so much, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it. What a treat you have been beholden to over the last 2 days. A massive thank you to the authorities here in Romania and Constanța. It has been an absolute pleasure and a joy to share our time and our sport with you. And thank you so much for helping us put on this incredible event. Well done to the media teams and everybody involved putting it together. Well done to the crews and the teams on shore, the hospitality staff and the VIP staff that look after everyone in XCAT VIP. From me, Stuart Porro, thank you very much for being with us. And John, thank you very much for being by our side as well.
Thank you.
And we shall see you in Dubai.
Well done again. Thank you. Yeah, very good race. Very
No, it's in the garage. Well, let's just say yes. That's that nice. Richtung Gott.
He wants a picture. We're famous. He wants to video. No.
No touch. Otherwise you'll fucking have us disqualified.
I just come to say the boys.
Oh, well done. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anyway, told you, the lying bastards.
Any damage?
We're going to push spot in, so be ready. Understand?
Probably our engine. You got to be down there too. Yeah, but I think it's the steering.
You'll be right. Far away.
Tell me what?
I just need to Come on, Martin! Well done! Yes! Well done, guys! Well done! Excellent! 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 Well done!
Din nou pe podium, legendele care au mai câștigat curse la Constanța, din trecut și ieri, Arisa Iqbal din Adrian Henry, Marta Fada, numele de Arisa...
Ia vezi mai, porni risipul. Păi și de ce nu-i semnat?
Tata numărul 3,
Stai să uită și el la...
legendele Arisa Nabi.
O oră și noi?
Pentru locul 2, domnul Alexandru Micu, președintele Federației Române de Yachting, îi va premia pe Giovanni Cartela și Florin Nicolson, marca numărul 10, Nicolson Offshore.
De unde e atâia?
Am îmi spui dacă nu.
Planul de la UIM a venit tocmai din Bujera să-i premieze, să-i compareze. Please, gentlemen, join the winners for a group picture. All the flags now. They are all done. Nu s-au fost cei mai rapizi la subscribe.
Bine.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Let's go on the stage.
Cursii de astăzi, o invit pe scenă pe doamna Elisabeta Fornea, reprezentanta unui producător de cosmetice, soarele puteți aici la Constanța, va oferi titulul un premiu special, și pe domnul Jean Tucan, cel care a fost alături de un om pasionat de sporturi nautice, care ne-a ajutat să ducem acest eveniment la bun sfârșit. Evident, sprijinul Clubului Sportiv Municipal, Federației Române de Yachting și cu finanțarea oferită de Primăria Constanța ca urmare a aprobării Consiliului Local Municipal. Îi invităm pe scenă, din câte știu eu, e primul lor podium, un echipaj care a venit tocmai din Cuvei, barca numărul 17, Clioi 2, Aculatica Romanii și Pater Andrei. Congratulations! Pe locul 2 avem o coincidență, barca numărul 2, tocmai în Suedia, Eric Gross, care la un moment dat era cel mai tânăr pilot din XCAT, și Eric Johansen, barca numărul 2, Luca Dreski. Steve Gross este din Suedia și Eric Johansen din Norvegia. Încă o premieră astăzi. Cred că este primul locul întâi pentru barca numărul 8 din Marea Britanie. Martin Campbell și Scott Williams, câștigătorii de astăzi. Așa cum am spus ieri, invităm pe scenă și pe team managerului bărcii numărul Shelly. Iată că acest sport este condus mai relevant și de doamne.
Nu făcuse nimic.
Îl rugăm pe domnul Jean Tucan să mâneze cupele celor care au urcat pe podium astăzi pe locul 3. Abdulatif Alomani și Bader Aldosari. S-au plătit prietenii în doar câteva zile aici la Mamaia. Mr. Jean, leave the kisses for later. Locul 2 va fi premiat de domnul președinte al Federației Române de Yachting, Alexandru Micu. Who's giving the Iar locul 3, Team GB, barca numărul 8, va fi premiată de Major Ahmed. Îl rugăm pe domnul Micu, președintele Federației Române de Yachting, să o premieze pe Shelly pentru performanța de astăzi și a condus echipa până pe locul 1. Congratulations, Shelly! Cum vă spuneam, a ars soarele aici la Constanța. Doamna Elisaveta Cornea îi va premia cu un premiu special pe toți cei care au urcat astăzi pe podium. Vă invităm să vă alăturați piloților pentru poza de grup și ulterior se va intona imnul național al Marii Britanii. Please join them for the anthem. Avem și un mic campion. Dacă prințul Charles a fost în România, cred că ar fi venit pentru prima dată la Constanța. Mă scuzați, maestate, maestatea sa, regele Charles. I think he would be in Romania to cheer you up, His Majesty. You know he owns a house here. Să-i mai aplaudăm încă o dată pentru o poză de grup. And now, gentlemen, If you could step down from the podium to have a good picture with the public to cheer you up today. With the public. Un timbrân de aplauze pentru acești fraților, pentru toți cei care au susținut acest eveniment, Primăria Constanța, Clubul Sportiv Municipal Constanța, Federația Română de Acții, toți cei care au muncit, cei care au cei care au montat acest eveniment, pentru cei care au montat de acții vor continua. Vă mulțumim că ați fost alături de noi, sperăm să ne revedem și anul viitor.